My name is Lainey, and at first glance, my life may appear to be just like anyone else's. As a middle school teacher, I find joy in shaping the thoughts and imaginations of young minds, and I've been happily married to Ansel for 5 wonderful years. In our charming abode on Maple Street, the air is thick with affection, echoing with the joyous sounds of cherished memories, and alive with the spirited antics of our dog Scout, a golden retriever whose zest for life radiates as brightly as his wagging tail. Ansel, an engineer by trade, often immerses himself in his work. Yet when he glances up from his blueprints, his smile shines like a warm light in our everyday lives. We crafted a life side by side, one that was meant to be rich with warmth and certainty, or at least that's what I thought until that fateful night turned everything upside down. As I sit here, pen in hand, I'm on the verge of sharing a narrative that will astonish you, a narrative of an unintentional betrayal that has caused me to reevaluate everything I understand about my own identity. Let us embark on a journey to the very start, a time when existence was uncomplicated and pure. Once upon an evening, much like countless others before it, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow of orange and pink across the sky. In the kitchen, the delightful scent of garlic and basil wafted through the air as I busied myself with dinner preparations. Scout lay at my feet, his eyes gleaming with anticipation for any morsel that might fall. His tail thumped against the floor, creating a beat that harmonized with the sound of my chopping. Ansel found himself running behind schedule once again, entangled in the whirlwind of a last-minute project at work. I found it admirable. His unwavering commitment was truly something to appreciate. As the doorbell chimed, it pierced the serene stillness of the night. With a sudden alertness, Scout's ears stood tall as he sprang toward the door, his bark resonating throughout the home. I wiped my hands on my apron and strolled over, anticipating the familiar face of a neighbor or the arrival of a delivery. As I turned the handle and pushed the door ajar, an eerie silence greeted me, for there was no one in sight. There it was, an envelope resting on the welcome mat, my name inscribed in a script that felt both known and strange. I grasped at the paper, fresh and crackling beneath my touch, and made my way back to the kitchen. My curiosity soared. The envelope lay sealed, concealing a letter, within its words crafted with a meticulousness that hinted at a pressing matter. It said, "Lainey, I must find you. This is a matter of great importance. Kindly join me at the ancient bridge when the clock strikes 12. The J must refer to Ansel. But what lies behind the veil of secrecy? What is it about that old bridge, a spot we haven't returned to since the early days of our romance?" My thoughts swirled with scenarios, each one more unsettling than the last. As I lingered at the kitchen table, the letter clutched in my hand, my mind danced, with thoughts swirling like the steam that once rose from the forgotten, now cold pasta. Scout, picking up on my discomfort, rested his head on my lap, his gaze filled with empathy. The minutes crawled toward midnight, each one tugging at my anxiety like a piece of taffy being stretched thin. I considered reaching out to Ansel, yet the tone of the letter, filled with urgency, led me to hold back. I had to witness it firsthand. As the clock approached midnight, I navigated the still streets of our town, accompanied only by the gentle purr of my car's engine and the distant call of an owl. The ancient bridge, a remnant of days gone by, stood before me, its weathered wooden planks groaning beneath the burden of my vehicle as I came to a stop. As I emerged into the night, the cool air brushed against my skin, guiding my steps toward the bridge ahead. Under the glow of the full moon, shadows stretched and danced, revealing the journey that lay ahead. In the heart of the bridge, a solitary figure emerged. My heart fluttered, then surged as I drew closer, the silhouette pivoting to meet my gaze. It was not Ansel. The impact hit me like a sudden strike. The figure standing in front of me was familiar, yet he belonged to a chapter of my life that had nothing to do with Ansel. He hailed from an era long past, a period I believed had faded into obscurity. Once upon a time, there was a man named Jonathan, a specter from my history, someone I had cherished or believed I had cherished before Ansel entered my life. Lainey, he murmured, his voice a soft breeze, carrying secrets through the air. I've been searching for you. Let me share something important with you. And with those words, the reality I had meticulously woven started to come apart at the seams. The seemingly flawless life I led was on the brink of upheaval, as hidden truths, deception, and an unexpected betrayal loomed ready to alter the course of my existence forever. On a Thursday evening like any other. As the evening settled and Ansel was immersed in his work a familiar scene, I took it upon myself to lead Scout on an adventure to the nearby park. The air was crisp, and Scout's excitement was electric as he pulled on his leash, ready for an adventure. In the stillness of the park, a sense of calm enveloped the surroundings. Amidst the gentle rustle of leaves, Scout's joyful barks echoed as he pursued a daring squirrel that ventured into his territory. After a stroll, I found myself drawn to the grocery store. In that moment, Scout, ever the mischievous spirit, wriggled free from his collar and sprinted into the parking garage beside the store. I hurried after him, shouting his name, my heart racing with concern. The garage was shrouded in shadows, where the sound of my footsteps mingled with Scout's barks, crafting an unsettling melody. The solid walls felt like they were encroaching upon me, every shadow dancing in a way that deceived my vision. After what seemed like forever, I finally located him, but not before he had stirred up quite a ruckus, toppling trash cans and sending debris flying in all directions. As I drew closer to Scout, an unusual sight caught my attention. In the soft glow of the fading light, a mysterious figure emerged, a shadow that seemed out of place among the familiar faces of the garage's regulars. My breath hitched as the silhouette advanced, unveiling his true identity. There he was, Jonathan, the figure from the bridge, a specter haunting my memories. Lainey, he whispered, his tone filled with intensity and a sense of urgency. What a surprise to see you here. Perhaps this is destiny at play. Thoughts swirled in a whirlwind. What brought him to this place? What brings us to this moment? Once upon a time there was a letter, a bridge, and now an unexpected encounter in a parking garage. Everything seemed like fragments of a narrative I had yet to unravel. I must share something with you. Jonathan continued, his gaze sweeping the surroundings as if anticipating another presence to emerge. There are tales waiting to be shared, tales that could transform everything. I found myself standing there with Scout now serene beside me, the leash once again in my grasp. Jonathan's words lingered, casting a profound shadow over the atmosphere. Jonathan, what brings you to this place? What made you think I would be here? My voice carried a blend of uncertainty and trepidation. He moved in closer, his features emerging beneath the dancing shadows of the garage light. I've been keeping an eye on you, Lainey, not to frighten you, but because I was searching for a chance to have a private conversation. Following this evening, I realized the time had come for action. His words wove a haunting tale that sent a chill down my spine. Are you with me on this journey? What was he implying with that remark about tonight? I stumbled upon the letter, and within its words he laid bare his heart. As I watched Ansel leave it behind, I made my move and caught it just in time. It was important for me to meet with you first to share my side of the story before he had the chance to speak. My heart felt heavy. Once upon a time, there was a character named Ansel. Did he have knowledge of the letter? The sense of betrayal washed over me, not merely from Jonathan's unexpected arrival, but from the unsettling thought that Ansel could be entangled in a hidden affair, one that touched upon the shadows of my past. What role does Ansel play in this narrative? My voice barely broke the silence, the cold concrete of the garage echoing the chaos within me. Jonathan let out a heavy breath, his eyes falling to the earth before reconnecting with mine. Lainey, There are aspects of Ansel and your shared journey that may not be as they appear. I've stumbled upon a revelation, one that could shatter your heart. Yet it's essential for you to grasp the reality. The universe appeared to shift in its very essence. In the dim corners of a parking garage, the threads of my existence began to fray. Scout, aware of my unease, nestled closer, his warmth a gentle solace amid the chilling fear that surrounded me. Share with me. I insisted, my voice more resolute now, driven by a desire to comprehend, to seize the truth that was eluding my grasp. Jonathan inhaled deeply, his gaze reflecting a sadness that resonated with my own. Lainey Ansel's true nature may surprise you. There's a secret he's been keeping, a tale from the past that predates your encounter. And it includes me. It includes us. The atmosphere was heavy with unspoken tales, every utterance from Jonathan crafting a rich narrative of betrayal and concealed realities. My mind spun, attempting to weave together the scattered pieces of my existence that now appeared as a meticulously crafted illusion. What does it encompass? I inquired, my tone unwavering even as turmoil raged within me. It brings forth a history you believed was long forgotten, a history that Ansel has been striving to keep hidden. But hidden truths have a way of emerging, Lainey, and they are poised to transform everything you understand about your existence, about Ansel, and about me. As Jonathan spoke, the garage enveloped us, the shadows deepening, the silence thickening. Scout let out a quiet whimper, his tail still as he felt the weight of the moment pressing down around him. In the shadows, I found myself confronting a figure from my history bearing secrets that could unravel the world I had carefully crafted alongside Ansel. As I stood there, I felt the weight of an impending revelation, knowing that everything was about to change forever. As I cornered Scout, attempting to soothe his frayed nerves, an unforeseen event unfolded. Amidst the chaos, Scout, likely thinking I was inviting a game, leaped onto me with such vigor that I stumbled and nearly fell. As we tumbled down, amidst the whirlwind of confusion, an unimaginable event unfolded. In a burst of enthusiasm, Scout accidentally knocked me over, turning the moment into unexpected chaos. In that moment, I found myself engulfed in disbelief, struggling to grasp the unfolding events. The understanding of what had just unfolded struck me with overwhelming force. A whirlwind of dread, uncertainty, and an unshakable sense of remorse washed over me. I quickly calmed Scout down, collected myself, and walked out of the garage to regain clarity, my mind swirling with the significance of this strange occurrence. How can I possibly confront Ansel after everything that has happened? The journey back to my car felt like a dream, each step laden with the gravity of recent events. Scout walked alongside me, a sense of tranquility enveloping him, his tail no longer dancing with the same enthusiasm. My gaze faltered, unable to bridge the gap between the joyful, affectionate companion and the being that had just unleashed such chaos. Once in the car, I found myself gripping the steering wheel, my mind swirling with a storm of confusion. The letter, Jonathan's revelations, and now this? It felt like a whirlwind of events, each one weaving a tale more intricate than the last. The engine roared to life, cutting through the stillness of the night, as I navigated the road home on autopilot. My thoughts circling back to the vivid scene in the garage, each detail etched in my mind. As I stepped inside, the shadows enveloped the house with Ansel yet to return. A wave of relief washed over me, intertwined with a sense of impending unease. What's the best way to share this with him? How could I possibly start to recount the strange, disquieting event involving Scout? With purpose, I made my way to the bathroom, ensuring the door was securely locked behind me. In that moment, I craved a little distance, a chance to reflect and unravel my thoughts. The mirror revealed a visage that felt foreign to me. A ghostly pallor, eyes open wide in disbelief, and lips drawn tight in a silent narrative of surprise. I turned on the tap, allowing the cold water to cascade over my hands, attempting to cleanse the confusion and guilt that lingered within me. Perched on the rim of the tub, I found myself revisiting the scene in the garage. Scout's lively spirit had shifted into something different, something that felt like a breach, not only of our connection, but also of the trust that Ansel and I held dear. It was an accident, I understood that, yet the consequences were overwhelming. The creak of the front door swinging open pulled me from my thoughts, bringing me back to the present moment. Ansel had returned to the familiar warmth of his home. My heart pounded, my stomach twisted in knots. The moment wasn't right for me to confront him. I was eager to unravel the mysteries Jonathan had alluded to uncover the hidden truths that Ansel might be concealing. I lingered in the bathroom, attuned to Ansel's footsteps, the sound of his keys gently tapping against the kitchen counter, and the soft rustle as he probably sifted through the mail. Each sound resonated with intensity. Each shift in the air seemed to draw me nearer to an encounter I wasn't prepared to face. At last I stepped out, my movements cautious and unsure. In the kitchen, Ansel stood with his back turned, filling a glass with water, a moment that seemed to hold a quiet significance. "Hey, you're home late?" he remarked, pivoting with a grin that seemed to lack genuine warmth. So I took Scout out for a stroll, and he slipped away from me. I found myself speaking, my voice feeling strange and unfamiliar to my own ears. Ansel's brow knitted in thought. "Is he doing all right?" "He's fine," I answered in a rush, almost too eager, a little thrill of fear. Ansel nodded, yet I could sense the unspoken inquiries brewing within him. He sensed that something was amiss. "Your expression suggests you've encountered something quite eerie." What's the real story here?" I inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of the words resting on my lips. "Ansel, I have a tale to share with you." An unexpected event unfolded this evening. His expression transformed worry, carving deeper creases into his features. "Can you share what it is?" I paused, the reality balancing precariously at the brink of my words. "It's a tale of Scout intertwined with another narrative." I stumbled upon something intriguing. Ansel placed his glass aside, his gaze fixed intently on me. "Share with me, Lainey. What's happening?" The space seemed to shrink, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken words. I shared the tale of my meeting with Jonathan, the letter that arrived, and the disquieting event involving Scout, every word echoing the sense of treachery against our collective journey. Ansel absorbed the words, his expression shifting from bewilderment to a flicker of understanding. "Is that you, Jonathan? From your history?" His voice carried a subtle weight, steady and measured, yet beneath it, I sensed a ripple of unease. "Indeed," I murmured, sensing the gravity of the revelation. "And he spoke of hidden truths, of layers within you and me that defy appearances." Ansel's jaw clenched, his gaze probing into mine. What were his exact words? "He mentioned that there's a secret you've been keeping, something from the time before our paths crossed, something that includes his presence." The stillness that ensued was overwhelming. Ansel averted his gaze, his fingers raking through his hair, a familiar sign of exasperation that I recognized instantly. "Lainey," he started, his voice heavy with emotion. "There are tales I haven't shared with you, tales from a time before we united. But I want you to see my actions were driven by the desire to keep us safe, to keep you safe." A wave of despair washed over me. The existence I once believed was founded on trust and affection now lay cloaked in mysteries. "What exactly do you want to shield me from, Ansel?" He glanced over his shoulder, his gaze a tapestry woven with threads of sadness and determination. "From a history that may bring pain. From decisions I've taken that haunt me with their shadows each passing day. Yet with Jonathan's return, it feels as though the past decisions are finally coming to light." The atmosphere was thick, as if the very walls were alive, resonating with secrets that lingered in the air. Scout, feeling the weight in the air, crept into the kitchen. his head bowed, his gaze fixed on us with a gentle awareness. Ansel, care to share your adventures? My voice rose like a beacon, seeking understanding amid the chaos that surrounded me. He let out a deep breath, the weight of untold tales lingering in the air. I have so much to share with you, Lainey. However, it's important to understand that this goes beyond my own experience. It's a narrative of our journey, reflecting on what we've created side by side and the potential consequences we face if this is revealed. As he shared his thoughts, the very essence of our shared existence appeared to quiver. As the truths began to unfold, they carried the weight of possibility, threatening to upend all that we cherished. I found myself in our kitchen, a space filled with memories of shared meals and laughter, now transformed into a backdrop for revelations that could alter the course of our lives. And Scout, our loyal friend, rested at our feet, a quiet observer to the unfolding of our seemingly flawless existence. The days that came after were a whirlwind of events. I sidestepped Ansel's reach, my gaze averted from his piercing eyes. The weight of my guilt draped over me like a heavy cloak, and Scout, picking up on my turmoil, fell into an unexpected silence. I found it hard to share with Ansel, worried about how he might respond, concerned about his judgment. Instead, I retreated within my mind, swirling with a tempest of embarrassment and uncertainty. One evening, Ansel sensed my withdrawal and approached me directly. His voice carried a softness filled with care. Lainey, what seems to be the matter? There seems to be a gap between us. I stood there, the thoughts swirling in my mind, yet trepidation kept them at bay. Could the revelation of reality shatter all that we have created? I inhaled deeply, the atmosphere around me heavy with expectation. Ansel, there's a tale I must share with you. I began, my voice just a soft murmur. There's a twist in the tale involving Scout, and it's not what you'd anticipate. Ansel's gaze locked onto mine, revealing a blend of concern and uncertainty etched across his face. Can you share what transpired, Lainey? His tone was gentle and uplifting, yet I could feel the underlying tension growing. It was just a chaotic accident, I explained quickly, hoping to ease the tension. In the garage, Scout couldn't contain his excitement. In a whirlwind of unexpected events, he leaped towards me, and amidst the turmoil, he crossed a line. Ansel's expression transformed, moving from worry to disbelief, his eyes growing wide. Unacceptable, Lainey. Could you share what you mean? The warmth crept up to my cheeks, a wave of embarrassment and guilt washing over me. It happened by chance, Ansel. In an instant, I shoved him aside, but the moment unfolded in a blur. I felt a deep sense of embarrassment. I found it difficult to share this with you. He took a step back, his fingers threading through his hair, a familiar sign that he was grappling with something significant. Lainey, I find myself at a loss for words. This comes as a surprise. I understand. I murmured, my voice trembling. I've been keeping my distance because I wasn't sure how to navigate this situation. And then we have Jonathan. Ansel's gaze locked onto mine, his demeanor shifting to one of intensity. Hey, Jonathan, what role does he play in this narrative? He found himself in the garage, surrounded by memories and echoes of the past. He mentioned that he has been keeping an eye on me and that he got hold of the letter you left behind. He alluded to hidden tales, Ansel tales about you, about us. The atmosphere thickened, the space around Ansel seeming to compress as he absorbed what I had just shared. Whispers of hidden tales. Lainey, I've shared all the significant tales with you. What mysteries could he possibly be alluding to? He mentioned that it connects to him, our history, and a secret you've been keeping. I shared, my voice calm and unwavering, driven by the desire to grasp the truth. He mentioned that you've been attempting to hide it, but the truth is starting to emerge now. Ansel's face was a canvas of turmoil. His typical tranquility was overtaken by a whirlwind of feelings. Lainey, There are moments from before our paths crossed, moments I believed held no significance in our journey together now. But if Jonathan's returned, then perhaps they're not as hidden as I wished. What tales, Ansel? With the steady voice, I sought to cut through the haze of uncertainty. He let out a deep breath, the significance of what he was about to say hanging in the air. Before our paths crossed, I found myself entangled in a situation that, while not against the law, certainly raised some ethical eyebrows. It was about Jonathan, and it turned out to be a misstep, one that lingers in my thoughts with regret. I believed that by starting anew, by creating a life with you, I could put the past to rest. But what could it be? I urged, seeking the complete narrative to unravel the confusion. It was a transaction, Ansel confessed, his tone barely above a whisper. Jonathan and I shared a bond like no other. We found ourselves at a crossroads where our choices inadvertently cast shadows on others' paths. Upon recognizing the consequences, I decided to withdraw. Yet Jonathan chose to stay in the thick of it. I've been shouldering my share of the consequences, working to mend things quietly, all to shield you from any repercussions. The realization washed over me like a tide, and now Jonathan has returned. But why he seeks resolution, or perhaps he's facing challenges and requires assistance, I'm uncertain, but his return signifies that our history is resurfacing. Ansel said, his gaze locking onto mine, silently asking for comprehension. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation, the only sound being the gentle ticking of the clock, each moment unfolding as I took in his revelation. Scout, feeling the unease in the air, let out a soft whimper, his tail drooping in silence. Ansel, why didn't you share your tale with me? My voice carried a blend of pain and uncertainty. I sought to shield you, Lainey, from the weight of guilt, from the stares of judgment. He explained, his voice heavy with feeling, that he didn't want our life together to be overshadowed by the missteps of his past. I gazed at him, truly gazed at him, perceiving not only the man I cherished, but also a soul weighed down by his history. We must confront this side by side, Ansel. Whatever Jonathan presents, we will navigate it together as a united front. He nodded, a flicker of appreciation lighting up his anxious expression. Thanks a lot, Lainey. I regret not sharing this with you sooner. As we stood there, the air thick with unspoken tales, and the impending clash with Jonathan loomed over us like a storm cloud. In that instant, a fierce commitment surged within me, a promise to safeguard everything we had created regardless of the sacrifices required. The revelation had come to light, and now we found ourselves charting a course through the tempest it had stirred up. I stood there, the heaviness of my revelation lingering in the air, enveloping us in an unspoken tension. Ansel's expression shifted dramatically, first revealing confusion, then horror, and finally a blend of emotions that left me puzzled. He remained quiet, the gravity of my words hanging in the atmosphere like a thick, suffocating shroud. I'm at a loss for words, Lainey. Ansel finally succeeded, his voice barely audible, strained as he fought to maintain his calm. There's so much to absorb. I nodded, my eyes glued to the floor, unable to lift them to meet his gaze. I'm aware, Ansel. I've been holding this inside, unsure of how to share it with you, worried about the impact it might have on our relationship. He moved in a little closer, his hand extending, but then pausing, caught in a moment of uncertainty about whether to offer solace or challenge. The event involving Scout was it truly just a mishap, as you mentioned? Indeed, I affirmed, my voice just a soft murmur. It happened in an instant, completely unlike him. It left me in disbelief, and I found myself grappling with it internally. Ansel's hand finally found mine, enveloping it with a tender squeeze. What about Jonathan? What were his exact words? He mentioned that there are aspects of you, of us, that may not be as they appear. He alluded to hidden tales. Ansel whispers that could unravel the very fabric of what we've created. Ansel exhaled deeply, his eyelids fluttering shut for a moment as he sought to collect his reflections. Lainey, there are moments from my past moments I believed held no significance for our life today. But if Jonathan's returned, then perhaps they're not as hidden as I wished. What tales, Ansel, I urged, seeking the complete narrative to unravel the confusion. He let out a deep breath, the weight of unspoken tales evident in the sound. Before our paths crossed, I found myself entangled in a situation that, while not against the law, certainly raised some ethical eyebrows. It was about Jonathan, and it turned out to be a misstep one that haunts me with regret each passing day. I believed that by starting anew, by creating a life together, I could put the past to rest. But what could it be? With a steady voice, I sought to cut through the haze of uncertainty. It was a transaction, Ansel confessed, his tone barely above a whisper. Jonathan and I shared a bond as partners. We took actions that unintentionally affected others in a negative way. As I came to understand the consequences, I decided to step back, but Jonathan chose to stay in the midst of it all. I've been shouldering my share of the consequences, working to mend things quietly to shield you from any repercussions. The realization washed over me like a tide, and now Jonathan has returned because he seeks resolution, or perhaps he's facing challenges and requires assistance. I'm uncertain, but his return signifies that our history is catching up. Ansel remarked, his gaze locking onto mine, silently asking for comprehension. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation. The only sound, the gentle ticking of the clock, each moment unfolding as I took in his revelation. Scout, feeling the unease in the air, let out a soft whimper, his tail drooping in silence. Ansel, why didn't you share your tale with me? My voice carried a blend of pain and uncertainty. I wished to shield you, Lainey, from the burden of guilt, from the weight of judgment. He shared, his voice heavy with feeling that he wished for our life together to remain unblemished by the errors of his past. I gazed at him, truly gazed at him, perceiving not only the man I cherished, but a soul weighed down by his history. We must confront this as a united front, Ansel. Whatever Jonathan brings to the table, we'll navigate it together as a united front. He nodded, a flicker of appreciation lighting up his anxious expression. Thanks a lot, Lainey. I regret not sharing this with you sooner. As we stood there, the air thick with unspoken truths, and the impending clash with Jonathan loomed over us like a dark cloud. In that instant, a fierce conviction surged within me, a commitment to safeguard everything we had created regardless of the sacrifices required. The revelation had come to light, and now we found ourselves steering through the tempest it had stirred up. In the days that followed, a palpable tension hung in the air. Ansel and I navigated our interaction with a careful grace, each of us absorbing the unfolding truths in our own unique manner. Scout appeared to sense the change in our household, his typical enthusiasm giving way to a serene attentiveness. One evening, as we gathered in the living room, the stillness was interrupted by the unmistakable sound of a car arriving in our driveway. My heart raced with excitement. Ansel's expression darkened, his jaw tightening in a manner that revealed he was aware of the identity. Could it be him? I inquired, my tone unwavering even in the face of trepidation. Ansel gave a thoughtful nod. Absolutely, we will navigate this journey side by side. As we approached the door, fingers intertwined, we stood together, ready to face whatever the tempest had in store. As we opened the door, there stood Jonathan, his face a mystery in the soft glow of the porch light. Once upon a time, there were two characters named Lainey and Ansel. Jonathan greeted, his voice steady, yet laced with a hint of urgency. It's time for a conversation. Step inside, Ansel urged, his tone steady, encouraging, but not entirely warm. Jonathan entered, his gaze sweeping across the space before landing on us. Though I was hesitant to arrive, the situation has shifted. Ansel, I find myself in need of your assistance, and I must provide Lainey with some clarity. We gathered in the living room, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken words. Scout, picking up on the tension in the air, settled at my feet, resting his head on my lap, providing a quiet sense of comfort. Could you share more details? I asserted, my voice more powerful than my true feelings. Jonathan inhaled deeply, gathering his thoughts. The business deal Ansel and I were part of had ripples that extended beyond just the two of us. There were others, individuals who suffered greatly due to our choices. I've been navigating the aftermath, attempting to mend what was shattered, yet it feels insufficient. There's a shadow lurking, and it's not just me they're after. It's you too. Ansel's gaze sharpened. Who is it? Once upon a time there was a man named Vincent. He was among the investors who faced total ruin. He's been on my trail, and he's aware of you, Ansel. His pursuits aren't driven by wealth. He seeks to settle the score. What brings us to this moment? I inquired, my thoughts swirling with the possibilities. I've been on a journey, weaving a tale to shield you from the truth. Yet he discovered my presence, and his pursuit will not wane until he achieves his desires. Jonathan shared, his voice laced with a sense of longing. Ansel's grip on my hand grew firmer. What is it that he desires? He desires for me to endure pain, to experience the loss of everything, just as he once did. And he believes that means destroying your life, Ansel, because you escaped when you had the chance. The atmosphere was thick, as if the very walls were alive, resonating with secrets that lingered in the air. What is our purpose? I leaned in closer, glancing back and forth between Ansel and Jonathan. We must face him, Ansel declared, his mind set. We must confront our reality and face what lies ahead. It's time to bring this to a close. Jonathan gave a thoughtful nod. I see your point, but there are risks involved. Vincent's thoughts wander in unpredictable ways. His heart is fueled by a burning desire for retribution. Then we'll be prepared, Ansel proclaimed, his determination solidifying. United, we will safeguard what belongs to us. As we mapped out our future, I felt the richness of the connection that Ansel and I had cultivated. In the midst of hidden truths and a shared history, we stood together, ready to confront the looming danger. Scout, steadfast and true, rested beside us, a quiet protector during our time of uncertainty. The tempest raged around us, yet we stood united, ready to face it, side by side. Our journey began with a revelation, and now we would traverse this road together, side by side, ready to face the shadows that lay ahead. In the days that followed, the burden of our discoveries loomed over us like an impending tempest. Ansel and I, once wrapped in the warmth of our familiar existence, now journeyed through a terrain filled with echoes of what once was, and the daunting specter of what lay ahead. The event involving Scout, though unintentional, had etched itself into memory, a quiet testament to the fragility of everyday life. After a long stretch of quiet, Ansel finally found his voice. His voice carried a weight, each word dripping with unspoken truths, as if he were finally sharing secrets long kept in the shadows. Lainey, we need help, he said, avoiding my gaze. I've made some calls. We're going to see a counselor. I nodded, emotions swirling within me, a blend of relief and apprehension. The concept of seeking help felt intimidating, yet the notion of navigating this journey solo was simply too much to bear. We sought direction to traverse this extraordinary circumstance, to grasp the emotional effects of what had occurred. In a cozy, tranquil office, we began our journey, surrounded by shelves filled with volumes on human behavior and the strength to overcome challenges. Dr. Morgan, our therapist, possessed a soothing presence, her gaze warm yet penetrating, as if she could peer into the depths of our struggles. Share with me what led you to this moment. She started, her voice gentle, encouraging us to open up and reveal our experiences. Ansel began, his voice steady. An event has occurred, and shadows from my history have emerged, connected to someone we were both acquainted with prior to our meeting. I stepped in, recounting the moment with Scout, the surprise that washed over me, and the unfolding truths about Ansel's previous interactions with Jonathan. Dr. Morgan absorbed every word, her notes reflecting the weight of our narrative. "These events," she said thoughtfully, "are not merely a recounting of occurrences, but rather a reflection on their impact on your bond, your faith in one another, and your overall feeling of safety. Let's delve into that." The sessions transformed into a refuge, a space where we could unravel our feelings, our anxieties, and our aspirations. Ansel discovered how to express his emotions of betrayal and confusion, stemming not only from the situation with Scout, but also from the hidden truths he had harbored. He shared tales of remorse, of the weight of his previous choices, and the anxiety that they could unravel the foundation we had created. For me, therapy unfolded as a path of reconciliation, not only with Ansel but also within myself. The incident with Scout served as a vivid illustration that life often presents us with unforeseen trials. It became clear to me that unexpected events, no matter how strange, can guide us toward deep insights and personal development. Through the trials brought on by these revelations, our bond started to mend as we embraced open dialogue and the expert support of Dr. Morgan. We shared tales of trust, exploring the roots of our marriage, and envisioning how to fortify them even more than they were before. Scout, having matured and found a sense of tranquility, continued to be an integral member of our family. His presence, once shrouded in confusion and guilt, transformed into a beacon illuminating our path through the shadows. He was there, his tail wagging with a calm rhythm, now reflecting a shared sense of understanding that connected us in that moment. I've come to embrace the idea of self-forgiveness, realizing that mishaps can take us on journeys we never anticipated. Our journey together, though transformed, has deepened, anchored in truth and strength. Through the tempest, we navigated side by side, unveiling layers of affection and devotion that were previously hidden from our view. Can our bond really endure such a trial? This tale, though surprising, showcases the intricacies of human feelings and the strength of love when confronted with the unthinkable. We've emerged from the journey not unscathed, but with a stronger connection, a mutual recognition that genuine affection can withstand even the bleakest moments. As we move forward in our sessions, as we work on rebuilding, I gaze at Ansel and Scout, and I perceive not merely the echoes of the past, but the potential of what lies ahead. Our love, forged in the flames, has not only survived, but has been refined, growing stronger and prepared to embrace whatever lies ahead. If you found the tale captivating, be sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments.